好，咁接住落嚟咧，我哋有請 United Force Creator Community 嘅創辦人盛世匡先生同我哋做個 presentation。咁佢嘅講題係用雙手建立公民參與社區，為何手作是日本不可或缺的社交活動？有請 Mori さん ，Thank you。
Well, anyway, thank you for inviting me, especially thank you for having me. Oh, you cannot choose?
Yeah, but maybe I need to be.
Oh, okay. Anyway, it's something the trouble with the data. Anyway, it doesn't really matter to me and it matters for us. Because of having me here is because of my friends, Mr. Ho and Winnie, giving such a great opportunity. Because it's nice for me to also share my thought about what's the Japanese culture. Also, some kind of craft is always embedded. You can see the craftsmanship in Japan is kind of very well known in the world. And also what I can speak here, especially for young people, lots of message here because the title exactly showing about your hands created citizen participatory community is about, especially for young generation, you will be the new star and to support our handicraft industry as well as any kind of creative industry. You are the creative generation. So let me begin with my introduction, but I try not to speak too much about So myself is, now you know my age, is 55, good numbers, 55. And then I'm living here since 2000, which means I am almost like 23 years in Hong Kong residence. So I actually pretty much know about Hong Kong culture and lots of friends, including everyone here. Since I'm doing the design practice, I work for some Hong Kong design architect company. I'm actually studying architecture in London, and I moved to Hong Kong 2000 and I set up this United Boys after 10 years. Because once you live in one kind of society, after 10 years, you need to think about what you want to do for next 10 years. It's my perspective. So I thought, oh God, I just staying after 10 years, coming from the different culture, right? But after I get 10 years experience, I start to recognize I should give back something because of the culture of Hong Kong trained me a lot. So I decided, why don't we unite it together? Because of Hong Kong is very separated by the different industry because time is always short. So why don't we cross-exchange the different culture is my role. So I thought that I start to collaborate with the different the creative industry, architect, crafts, art, even like students. So very simple idea is about, if anything come good, why don't we share? And we get inspiration in each other, especially young people. So let's share your experience and you get to know what else your people around you is doing something meaningful, some innovative things. So you get inspired, you get encouragement, and you move on with something you can do, right? So I try to create a very healthy, sustainable, like a circulation within over 18 districts, because Hong Kong have 18 districts. I started from the central. So I show you quickly, like PMQ and Kun Tong, some art, like a collaboration village, and some waste shoe factory, and discover some of the abandoned factory. The venue was very interesting. Even a very famous architect, Rockwiam, I suppose you must know. Even he supported us to connect with the young artists and designers. So even sometimes I collaborate those different kind of creators, and then I make a project for Sony, creating a basic on the Hong Kong culture to play with the Sony products. And also some of the extent I bring Hong Kong artists and creators bring to Kyoto, bring those like a different outcome like fashion, design, fabric, ceramic. I bring to Kyoto and then introduce the Hong Kong creators to the Kyoto culture and exchange by those kind of craft visit the workshop to exchange how the craftsmen do the practice. So Hong Kong creators knows and discover about craftsmanship in Japan. So this is what I'm doing here. And also today is moving on to the main topics. I set the 4 category, Handicraft as a realization of your self-image, especially for young people. And handicraft is also an environmental friendly process. This is very important why this is craft is important design. Design is based, of course, is very important, but handicraft is more, especially for this current environmental issue. And also civic pride. This is one thing is, we are the citizens of this country. We have to have own pride to live in this community. So you are the one of the member. And then finally, so there was some process and platform in Japan to enhance or encourage the craft community by open craft workshop. So all these 4 points I will introduce. So I think that in terms of terminology, of course, the words always dominate your brain, right? Because it consists of thinking is based on your terminology, what is about. But what is about sometimes, from time to time, meaning or word will change by the different kind of social environment. So don't think about handicraft is like stated in the Wikipedia like this, talking about, you know, the skill activity in which something is made in a traditional way. But somehow, that's why I highlight, it must be traditional way, this question, right? And also with the hands, this is also the important thing at the same time. Otherwise, the machine, you know, it's like AI issue is talking about that, but at the same time, like a machinerized or machine dominating the handicraft, rather than being produced by the machine in the factory and all object made by such activities. So we can think about it. Okay, especially for young generation, handicraft as a realization of self-image. Let's introduce some case study from Japan, why the handicraft is an essential social activity in Japan. So initial stage, you have to interact. This is very important. We call active learning. Build individuality. So because of handicraft require making and use it, right? Because once you're making it, definitely you need to see the end part, what you're making, and you must think about usage. So you can see the whole dialogue between your inner space and your final outcome is outer world. And then, of course, while doing this, not like that and doing like this, right? You're sure once you play like ceramic, especially easy, very handy one. So you really know that, oh, this is not right. It's actually train your artistic sense. Yeah, so nurture your like artistic sense through the process. And also, especially material is very tough. It won't really follow your hand. Yeah, you need certain skill. That means you're communicating aesthetic sense between natural element and yourself. And also the craft require, the most interesting is not all made by plastic, right? This is so-called industrial, after he explained about industrial revolution. Craft involves many, many wide ranges of materials. You have to know about materiality and material, essence of the material. So you get to know. That means you almost like set back a little bit and to really, really study about the nature of material. Then you can get more practice. You can really manipulate this material into certain shape. That means really, to me, I should say, especially the last sentence I wrote it, the role of koge. Koge means the craft in Japan. Koge, something like a scale or measurement which serves as an index to find the balance between human and nature. So that's why the handicraft is very important to adjust where you in the status in the society. And also this is one of the initial practice, self-made graduation certificate by Jizenwashi Handicraft. So really, while they're in the primary school, they start to learn. Because this city is very famous for the handicraft washi paper that I will introduce. Especially, I have to mention that after my session, I will invite the Japanese craft master. He is promoting all this Japanese craft paper. We will get through the Zoom, and he will be in the monitor. We will share the session. So this is kind of gauge. It's called, like similar to the molding. We make this kind of echizenshi. It means yuzenchi, is it? Something like this. Yeah. So this is the city of the primary school. And they need to get all this molded with some kind of liquid paper. with some kind of the special ingredients. So that those masters, handicraft masters, they really teach a mentorship to really navigate how to make the handicraft paper. And then later on, the paper was made, so it has to get dry. Before that, you have to pressurize to get rid of the water to make for the dry process. Due to the private issue, so privacy issue doesn't really show that in the individual name on it, but somehow this is the graduation certificate. So basically what one of the comment by the chairman of Washi Traditional Craftsman Association, he was thinking that, oh, what the student made to celebrate himself by making a certificate by himself. So this is like an ending of the the course, and he is very proud of to also encourage himself by his hand-making graduate certificate. The other thing is very popular. Lots of the kiln, ceramic city all over Japan. So the early stage, while they're in also the primary school, they learn how to make use of the clay into any kind of shape. Doesn't really need to be like a functional wear. Sometimes the clay is very playful material. You can also train the different kind of artistic sense. Yeah, you can see that this is the individual outcome. Everybody has their own uniqueness. I'm sure they try to make something similar shape. Maybe the teacher say, oh, you should make a vessel or something, you make a cup. Eventually, all different. This is the uniqueness of the individuality while you're working with some kind of required hand skill. So this is very unique and very joyful mood that the students really try to make. I think it looks like a lantern, I guess, ceramic lantern. Even though it doesn't matter because of the kids is not really professional learning. They can just sit on the play codes and then just using the kind of slowing and play around with the clay. So once you come to the next level, which means you're no longer just be one of the students, you're going to participate in society. That's another secondary stage. So mature stage, social engagement. So it's come to the point that this is your realization of your ability in a society. Because this is a very simple diagram, suppose everybody know it, but somehow I should mention to graphically, because the individuality supports certain industry, like education industry, some of the professional industry. Later on, your participation through those professions actually build society. So that means your action really affect a lot in the society. So especially for new generation, even the young designers, creators, new educators, we are facing these problems. Globalized monopoly industry, because there are lots of big company. They have, now actually Apple just say that their income is far beyond like $4 trillion or something, right? It's one of the richest company on Earth. So some companies dominating, soaring in social economy because everything is so fast. And overuse of natural resources sometimes create unbalanced human resources, especially economical disparity, and overproduced mass production, and also we call fast fashion, and also definitely environmental pollution is another problem. Lots of artificial material had a difficulty to get back to the nature origin. And there's centralized economy, and everything in set by them, standardized products and services. So I made a comparison between our problems and what the craft could do. This is just like I'm not talking about definition or some kind of definite answer. I'm just talking about possibility. Yeah. So global monopoly industry. Okay. Once we go into the craft industry, you can localize production, contribute to local economy, because small studios, small workshop can make something, you can sell something locally, that means that your economy is support locally. And solving a social economy, eco-friendly production speed fits to the local needs. Overuse natural resources and balance the human resources. This one is supposed to use it. Yes, I cannot highlight this one, yeah, sorry, because too far. Anyway, the third column. So smart use of the resources in both material and human resources. Anyway, so the handicraft action can a lot of contribution to those our social problems. But however, what we are facing, based on this Japanese the nowadays result, left-hand side is showing about any traditional craft-related sales. Really, you can see the decline from the, especially like 40, 50 years ago. And now it's like almost like touching the bottom, almost a very bottom. It just continuously just survive this industry. So some of the main craft industry decline or collapse to some company or workshop. And then on the other hand, also the existing practitioner, this is in Japanese, somehow also the population of the professional crafters also declines. But interesting that the red bar is actually showing the population of handicraft craft women. Yeah, in terms of women's crafters increasing in terms of percentage. So how can we face these problems? So the handicraft has to be well promoted, and also handicraft to be well recognized, especially by the citizen. But the craftsman doesn't really know how to promote it by themselves. And later on, that's why I introduced open factory or open workshop. It's very effective because customer engaging interactive activities to promote handicraft cultures. Well, one more thing that I want to double mention why the craft is very important. Because of craft material is very environmentally friendly, as well as a production method. Biodegradable, recyclable, and also because it's happening locally. That means local natural materials. Normally in Japan, those bamboo or clay locally produced, and they produce those craft objects locally. That means those less carbon footprint, doesn't really move so much. So one of the, I curate this craft exhibition, I think 4 years ago, 3 to 4 years ago in a central library to promote the different types of materials. So that's why I want to introduce how different kind of nature material could be produced from which way and how to produce and eventually what kind of format. So everything made by cardboard and design and very sustainable, and with a paper wrap around the tabletop. And also you see that those different tablewares or some kind of artworks all collected 100 pieces from all over Japan to introduce different materiality. We call rushi, Japanese lacquerware. This is of course biodegradable because made from those wooden, the liquid. Of course, wood, everybody knew, biodegradable. As bamboo, of course, clay, ceramic, and metal. Recently, I also like this is indigo. So lots of material is really environmentally friendly. So as I stated, civic pride, local community pride, handicraft activities enhance connection between individuals and society. So the craftsmen, and even the local government, try to promote those local industry, which means the craft industry. So they start to open so-called open factory, because they have lots of different kind of craft works involved in some region, especially local production industry in Japan. They got lots of different types of local materials. So they showcase unique local industry. Eventually, those very uniqueness start to gather together, and they will be kind of in one form. They start to get proud of themselves to be in the citizen of that local community. So eventually, those customers engaged. They visited. I will introduce some of the two case study in Japan. So some of the success, young generation start to recognize, oh, this is very interesting. Design and crafts and productions and process, very interesting. So all over Japan, it's getting more like a very well recognized, we call open platform. Open factory is all over Japan. From north part is Pakuhoito, and middle part, and Kyoto, Shiga, and Seiki, and Gaochao. Really, you can see that plenty of open factory in Japan. So I introduced, because this coming in summer, it's good season for the students to visit. It's the August 26th and 27th. Actually, I may go, and I will bring 5 to 6 Hong Kong crafters and artists to be there, set up the booth, because I'm making the platform. So if you can join us, also you can really enjoy, from those craft events. They have a lot of sales booths, workshop, of course you can join, and you can enjoy local food. And the sales exhibition showcasing very unique individual craft products from the local artisan. And also you can arrange the craft tour. So you can really see all the process while the craftsmen making those pieces. The other one that happened in Kyoto, since the previous one in the summer, this one comes in the winter. It's about February. I think the Kyoto is very much famous for those craft products. So one of the platforms called Design Week Kyoto. So they introduced, of course, a bamboo. Kyoto made bamboo is very popular. Some of the metalware. Of course, Japanese kimono is also one of the most prominent work from the crafters. This is natural, like hand dyeing using. And even they're making like the temple, the bell. Actually, I think it's 2018. So because I knew this organizer of the Design Week Kyoto, I really like it. Eventually, I approached them to bring into Hong Kong. So it was 2018. I invited Design Week Kyoto in PMQ, which you're familiar with. So again, I curate this exhibition in the PMQ, invite 6 crafters, and they really do the workshop in front of us. You can see this kind of atmosphere. Even the Buddha statue sculptor brought those kind of Buddha statue, and ceramic artist. And also one more thing, I always want to exchange. Therefore, I invite some Hong Kong crafters, and then can communicate with the Japanese crafters, share the different thought, different kind of process. But at the same time, they're using same material, but the way of thinking, way how they manipulate the material, sometimes they can learn each other. So this is the whole member, like some Hong Kong creators, crafters, and also the Kyoto crafters. So I think I wish, from my point of view, I wish those kind of cultural exchange through some craft experience. This could be the very good to know each other as well as run each other. Hope really, either summer in the winter time, we can see in open factory. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mori-san. Thank you so much for the informative presentation. Please be seated.
Oh, yes.